In a study conducted in 1978, researchers followed up 1 year later with lottery winners and people who had become paralyzed and confined to wheelchairs. The question was simple: which group was happier? The answer was surprising. 1 year later, their levels of happiness were almost the same. The lottery winners had returned to nearly the same level of happiness they had experienced before winning millions. Now let me ask you the real question. Has your salary increased over the past 5 years? Probably. But do you feel more financially secure and at peace than you did 5 years ago? For most people, the answer is no. And I am about to explain why, because this may be the root cause of the biggest mistake you are making with money. Imagine getting a raise, let's say 20%. During the first week, you feel different. Maybe you celebrate, or perhaps you finally buy something you have been putting off for a long time. But 3 months later, something strange happens. The number in your bank account is still higher, yet you no longer feel as rich as you did at first. Why? Because your spending has quietly grown too. A restaurant you once considered a luxury is now part of your weekly routine. Something you used to say, "I'll buy it someday," is now sitting in your shopping cart. In finance, this is called lifestyle creep or lifestyle inflation, and it is the financial version of a much broader psychological mechanism, hedonic adaptation. Your brain follows a strange rule when evaluating your income. It does not measure how much money you have, but how accustomed you have become to it. When a new income level first arrives, your brain marks it as special and rewarding. But after a few months, it is no longer new. It becomes your new normal. And here is the truly dangerous part. Your reference point rises with you. The amount you called a good salary yesterday starts to feel insufficient today because you have already adapted to it and are now waiting for the next increase. And this is exactly where you unknowingly fall into a trap. A few months after receiving a raise, when you still do not feel the relief you expected, you start thinking, the problem must be my income. Maybe you need a slightly higher salary, maybe a promotion, maybe an additional source of income. You set a new target, you reach it, you feel relieved for a short while, then you adapt to that too. That is why it is called the hedonic treadmill. In personal finance, it has a much more familiar name, the earn and spend cycle. No matter how much more you earn, if your spending grows at the same rate, your savings never change. Only the numbers get bigger, your freedom does not. The effects of this cycle on your financial life are not limited to spending. The same thing can happen when you earn a return on an investment. Your first gain feels exciting, but after a few months, that gain starts to feel normal too, and you begin taking on more risk and making bigger moves. So hedonic adaptation does not only explain why you may feel as though you are always in the same place. It is also one of the hidden reasons many people take on more risk than they should, or save less as they earn more. You may be making material progress while feeling less financially secure. That is because the feeling of progress does not last. It quickly becomes part of your new normal. So, is it possible to escape this cycle? Not completely. Adaptation is a natural feature of the mind. But there is a way to turn this cycle in your favor. The first method is to make part of every raise or financial gain automatically invisible. When you receive a raise, direct a portion of the increase into savings or investments before the full amount reaches your spending account. You cannot adapt your lifestyle to money you never see. This prevents your spending from growing at the same pace as your income. The second method is to fix your reference point. Think about the budget you lived on a year ago. Your life was not bad then, was it? Many of the expenses you now consider essential are actually habits you added later. Becoming consciously aware of this makes it harder for your brain to treat them as invisible parts of your new normal. Maybe the real question is not, how much more do I need to earn? The real question is, have I made it a habit to increase my spending every time my income rises? Because sometimes the reason we feel financially uneasy is not that we do not earn enough. It is simply that we adapt too quickly to everything we earn. Feeling wealthy does not always come from earning more.
Sometimes it comes from learning to keep part of every increase for yourself before you spend it. In the sketchbook economy, every page leads to another. Subscribe and turn the page with me.